What's up, guys? How's it going? I'm here with my roommate Andrew again.
What's up, Metru Nui?
We just watched Legends of Metru Nui, so just like the last one with Mask of Light, we'll go ahead and just go over the film and general thoughts and everything before I ask other questions, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I thought it was better than the first one.
Yeah, I've
but there were
realized
certain
that.
things that I didn't like. Still, I guess, I don't know.
I realized I think it is better than the first one, finally.
I think it set up the characters way better. It's like somebody, like, they introduce all the characters, the names, like, they give them personalities at the beginning when the guy is going around and giving everyone those, like, scrolls. So I thought that was good. And I thought the, like, world that they designed was a lot more interesting than the first one, which felt like a little, all kind of the same, kind of blended together in the first one. I think the landscapes in this one were a lot more distinct.
When we kind of went over the first movie, you were like, you wish you'd seen like maybe some more of the actual island itself, like each of the different villages and cities, and we kind of get that right at the beginning of this one. I feel like that might have been a note that they got when they were making this movie.
So, I thought that was great. I thought the action was a little bit better. Like
they were shooting at each other.
Felt like they had more weight. You know what I mean? Like the physics were better.
They were shooting at each other.
Yeah, then again, never any hand-to-hand combat. The shooting was a little bit better. Like the effects were better instead of like these orbs that would just like take over the Bionicles or whatever. Like or not the Bionicles, whatever they were, the Toa. The thing I didn't like as much, I thought the Toa powers were so lame.
A little more lame. I can agree.
Like in the first one, they like have elemental powers, you know?
Yeah. Mass powers of the Toa in the first movie, they rarely ever use them. Tao has like shielding.
Oh, yeah. I guess I
has
just
like
always assumed it was the elemental powers. But
the elemental powers aren't so much the mass powers. These Toa solely rely on pretty much like mass powers.
Light.
Yeah, the mask of illumination. Yeah.
I don't even remember what the ice Toa's power was. It was
like telekinesis.
Telekinesis. Yeah.
Telekinesis, translation.
Yeah. The one thing,
light, mind, persuasion. I guess invincibility and like he can morph into other things. Yeah.
Right from the beginning, it was a lot more clear, like who the good guy, like what the story was kind of going to be. But they did, and I like the Palpatine twist of like the corrupt Turaga that like went evil. But I didn't fully understand what his plan, what he did to the world. Like it never really made sense.
Well, so like the Turaga that was evil the whole time was really Makuta disguised as that.
No, I know that, but I didn't understand like what his evil plan really was. Like I never like the logistics of all of it never really added up.
Like he gets all the Matoran in one place, the Colosseum, tells them to get into these ships, and then they fall asleep. Right. And his idea is he's gonna wait till he's able to make Metru Nui go to sleep, which he does. Mm-hmm. He causes the big great being to go to sleep, which is like this is called the Great Cataclysm. Like the whole universe shakes because the whole universe is in a giant robot body.
Right. Okay.
We didn't know that till later.
It's like Turtle.
Yeah, but like kind of. Yeah. And like he falls down onto this planet and falls asleep in a island, a physical island emerges above his face. That's where they take these Matoran when they save him. But like Makuta's idea was to wake up all the Matoran again after this giant cataclysmic event, and then be their like leader, their ruler, and all that.
Yeah, that makes more sense. I don't know why that wasn't super clear to me, but maybe they did a good job and I just wasn't paying attention enough. I don't know.
I feel like it's still a little hard to understand, but it does show that he does kind of have a plan. Like, where are all the Matoran? They're all of a sudden disappearing slowly because he's gathering them all up.
Yeah. I also understand why there was only one Toa. Like, aren't there always 6 Toa?
So there were a bunch. Like I told you, Nidhiki, one of the Dark Hunters, the like spider kind of guy,
used to be a Toa,
but like betrayed him and his body was disfigured and morphed, and that's... So there was a 6, like I think there might have been like 8, a Toa team at that Metru Nui, but at the time Lee Khan was the last one.
Got it.
And he's kind of like the last one that kind of does all that and becomes a Turaga at the end.
Right.
So this was 2004. So the last one was 2003. This is 2004. Would you say, did you notice any difference in animation at all? Like it got a little better or pretty much the same, or because it is literally it's a year later,
but
same. I think it must have had a little.
But
more.
What I would say that was better was I think they put more detail in the worlds themselves at the very least. And I thought the action was better. I thought the action was a lot better.
Yeah, I think it gets even better in the next one, honestly. Because I think Lego is getting a little more hands off, if is what I've heard from the director and like a lot of the creative team, is that like Lego became a lot more hands-off the further along they went with the movies. They almost thought it was like an afterthought. Oh yeah, and then we have our movie this year.
Right. None of them had confidence, you know? Like
they were all like
I think that like I thought I mean I guess like that changed over time a little bit, but I do like the personality they gave the characters and how you kind of got to explore all of the characters, with the exception of the ice character. I thought that was like super undeveloped. I forget his name.
Nuju, the white one in this one.
Yeah, but in the first movie, it was like focused mainly on like 3 Toa, you know?
Yeah,
like everyone else kind of randomly comes in. I think they did a good job of like having all the characters playing a role in it.
Yeah. A comment we made on the last movie was we didn't really get to see the mask powers that much. This movie, even if they were kind of lame, they did at least exhibit all 6 of the powers, and you did get to see that.
Mental powers are almost cooler than mask powers.
Well, definitely. That's why I like the Toa Mata and the Toa Nuva more.
I was surprised that wasn't a part of it. The one thing I didn't like was when the villain characters were like going to that water tube. They they almost like transformed shape, and then they could start flying around. And I was like, what? Like
it's just like a Dark Hunter's ability. Yeah. I don't know. The Rockshi did it in the last movie. That is weird. I don't know why they allow them to do that.
Well, they didn't give it any effect. You know, there was no like effect around their body or anything. They just like became super stiff and then looked like this like inanimate object.
Like they're flying.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. Like they were Star Wars ship or something. I like the Palpatine aspect though. That was just a good twist.
Lakuta's behind it all.
Yeah, but where are the other Turaga then? Like, why are there no other Turaga? Why is it just one Turaga?
So like Toa were being hunted down by these Dark Hunters.
Right.
Used to be a bunch of Toa, and if they had moved on, they would have become Turaga, but they were all killed or kidnapped or captured.
Oh, okay.
Or you'll learn in the next movie, actually, a little bit of what happened to some of the Toa that used to be there.
Yeah.
They essentially did get, a lot of them were like hunted down, and then those that didn't had to either go into hiding or like became, even if they had become Turaga, they would still have to hide because they made themselves known. Turaga Duma, who Makuta was hiding under the mask of, would have like noticed that and probably taken them the way he did with Lee Khan the last time.
Also, one thing that was strange was they didn't really like grieve the fact that their whole world had just been destroyed. Like they were cheering at the end of the movie and like they're like, oh, we did it, like you know, but it's like, yo, what about like the whole world that was just destroyed and gone now?
It's very intense.
They don't really. I feel like they should have let that sink in a little bit more for the ending. It would have been more impactful to like for the characters to take a moment.
I guess you do have the moment where like they give up their Toa powers to like revive all the Matoran.
Yeah, I mean that was like a cool moment where it came full circle. Although I was kind of hyped to see like them on the island doing Toa shit for a bit before. I didn't think it would be like, oh, instant Turaga.
So the next film,
instant like, oh, like connecting to all the characters, because I thought this was 1,000 years in the past.
Yeah, so the movie takes place 1,000 years in the past because they spend 1,000 years on that island of Metru Nui before we see Mask of Light, the film.
Right, but we have all the same characters from the first movie that like are there. They're all 1,000 years old.
The Turaga,
because in the first
they're probably
movie,
more than 1,000 years old. They're thousands because they're Matoran when we meet them in this.
Even the little guys, I mean,
even those Matoran are thousands.
But that was confusing to me because like in the first movie, like they don't really know the history. But like, wouldn't the Turaga just tell them the history? So they're
because of the transportation from like Metru Nui, the Matoran universe giant Metru Nui body, out to this island as like refugees, kind of like to get away. Their bodies like were slightly diminished in size, and a lot of their memories were wiped. So a lot of these Matoran just woke up on this island with these new Turaga.
Yeah, but like, wouldn't they know? Like, if they were around for 1,000 years, wouldn't they have time to tell them all the stories before? Because in the first movie, they don't really know.
They keep it secret, but there are a couple Matoran that the Turaga let them know.
Why do they keep it secret?
I don't exactly know.
Yeah,
why not?
I don't know why not either.
I guess they didn't want them to have these sad memories of this.
I guess we needed some way to connect the first thing to the second thing without people questioning it too much. No, I'm just kidding.
I think there's a reason behind it. Obviously, like the Turaga had a reason of why they wanted to keep it all to themselves. You know?
So in Bionicle, did they ever go back to the old world ever?
So that's the thing. So what we saw in this movie is at the end, they take the Matoran back to the island and turn into Turaga. The next movie, the third movie, is this extra year where they go back to Metru Nui, like the island, or the
Turaga?
So they go, the end scene right before credits takes place after this next movie, actually.
Oh, weird.
So they, in between taking, they don't just take the Matoran to the island and it's good. They had to go back and forth. So they went back to the...
They should have left on the cliffhanger then. It's kid movie, you know? Like,
it's
they wanted
kid movie, and I think they wanted to
how
connect it to the
much more
first
epic
one.
that would be if, like, it was, like, an all, like, you know, Endgame, all is lost moment. Like, oh, fuck, like, we have no Matoran, like, we're on this island stranded, like, no hope, like, maybe we, like, you know, then that would have set up this next move. It sounds like a lot better, like, you know, cliffhanger. But, again, I know it's kid.
It does come around. I think they just wanted to make it clear to the audience, like, kid audience especially, like, that this is the life cycle. Like, they turn into the Turaga from the first movie, though. Yeah. And this is, like, where they leave
But I think,
off.
like, if that was the plot of the next movie, it would make a lot more sense. Just cliffhang it, you know?
The next movie,
universe.
people have theories, and I think it's pretty much true. They spent so much money designing this cool, like, metropolitan-looking island, futuristic
really
island,
cool.
but they had so many of these assets, they didn't want all the work, time, and money to go to waste, so they tacked on another year in the same location.
Yeah.
But they return, and it's taken over by, like... So because of everything that happened, like... all of the archives and all of the wild animals have been set loose, and it's like the city is shrouded in like webs, and like these like spider-like creatures are everywhere, and there's like new kind of like warlords that are trying to take over the island.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a cool totally idea, but it's the most like tangent story out of all the Bionicle years that like they don't even bring up Metru Nui really or talk about any of that. It's literally just like about these Toa again, the ones we met in this film.
Yeah.
It's like it's a much more of a sequel than like this is to Mask of Light.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. You would think they would connect them more with that ending. It's like that's what I was saying. Like there was a moment where like I'm like, where's the all is lost moment where it's like, how do we come back?
Yeah, right. That would have been cool for them to do.
Right.
At the end of this, it's really like even more somber. I mean, it is, but like the way they portray it in the film is not as much so. Because I guess it's wide release kids.
Yeah, kid movie, you know. But that was the thing I liked about Endgame, you know. I was like, damn, it's dark ending. Like, you know, heroes didn't win. It's cool.
Well, that is many years in Bionicle end like that, but obviously it's comics and novels. That's the thing is like next we'll watch Web of Shadows, the third one, and we'll like kind of go into it as well. But then after that, it's like they didn't make another movie for like 5 years. And I'm just gonna have to fill you in with this video that I've been showing you of like all the other years that are packed into like 6-minute segments that this guy does. I wish we had a movie for every year, but I think the Lego company started like seeing it.
A lot of money.
For one thing, it wasn't making all their money back, but two, it was just like never really a part of their plan, and they were like thinking it was just kind of not worth it to keep doing these. That like. They had grown so far into losing touch with they just let the animation team know the story that's happening next year, a year in advance, and make the movie, you know?
Yeah. Well, little did they know, Lego movies would go on to be very big.
Yeah, Lego movies would go to be huge. How wild.
But Lego put up all the money for this? Probably, right?
Well, pretty much. Oh, yeah. And, I mean, I guess you could say with the Lego movie that came out in 2014, literally like 10 years after this movie came out. Pretty funny.
Yeah.
But, 10 years later, I think Warner Brothers put money up. You know, there were other people putting money up besides just Lego. That's, I think, how
it'd
it got
be interesting
made.
to see Bionicle in some of the new Lego movies.
They
like
wanted
how they
to.
would animate them and do like
in Lego
because
movie
the Lego
2,
movie they do such a good job of like keeping it in the Lego universe. But that like I mean Bionicle's so weird.
In Lego Movie 1, they reference it because he's like, there's other worlds than mine, and she's explaining to him, Wildstyle's explaining to Emmett, like, no, there was this theme, that theme, Knights, Kingdom, that theme, some things we don't need to talk about, and quickly there's a flash of Bionicle.
Why don't they want to talk about it? Wasn't Bionicle super successful, or was the joke?
Lego is a weird thing where they don't talk about it because it doesn't look Lego at all.
Right.
It doesn't feel very much Lego. You know?
It's much more action fig, you know.
But I think they also think it's almost a recurring joke that Lego doesn't acknowledge Bionicle sometimes, and Lego knows that and they think it's funny.
Yeah.
But in Lego Movie 2, since Bionicle G2, it only lasted a year and a half, 2 years, that they tried to reboot Bionicle, but with very shallow lore and not like nearly as deep of a mystery to it that like it originally had. So it didn't last long, but because it was coming out while they were producing the Lego Movie 2, Lego Movie 2 didn't come out until like 2017.
Right.
But this is 2015, 2016, they're working on the sequel. There were original moments in it when she, like, Wadstyle comes across Takanuva, Toa of Light. Like,
Whoa.
and it's literally like they had like storyboards where he was one of the main like, characters on their side mission, just a side character, you know? They were going to totally do it and double down on it.
Wow.
And I think one, they just decided it was too many characters already in the movie. And then two, I think because Bionicle Generation 2, when they tried to come back, was failing so much, they were also like, we're not going to.
Yeah, there's no reason to do that. Wow, really interesting.
I'm sure there's
maybe
other
the next
reasons.
Lego movie. You never know.
When are
we getting a Lego Alpha Team?
Lego Power Miners film?
Yeah, Lego Power Miners film would be great. It'd be like horror film, you know, like trapped in all the caves with all the crystals and slugs.
But all right, so Bionicle Legends of Metru Nui, you liked it more.
I liked it more. I thought the design choices were better. The characters were more detailed. The story was laid out in a more cohesive way.
If anything, the lame stuff, because that was all great, the more lame kitty stuff stood out more.
Yeah, just the mask powers, man. Like, come on. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Light a mask, a flashlight?
Flashlight mask. I think he has X-ray vision too, but like,
yeah, they didn't get into that. Yeah. But overall, yeah, I liked it better. Better action. I think better story.
All right, pretty good.
Should have left on a cliffhanger.
Yeah. Especially if they knew they were gonna do one more at least.
Right.
Technically, they do end in cliffhangers, though. Like in the comics and the novels, have more.
It's like the reverse of the Schneider cut. It's like they decided to show you the future before it's happened, but it's all positive, happy future. And then the next movie, we go, you know, into the tough times. Yeah.
All right. So next is going to be Web of Shadows, and I think we'll do Legend Reborn just whatever. Screw it.
Yeah, and then
it's the fourth movie.
We're out of Bionicle.
We're out of Bionicle movies. All right. Well, thanks for coming on. Yeah. We'll see you on the next one, Web of Shadows. But until then, thanks for watching Biotalk.
Metru Nui.
Metru Nui.